Later than a Blatt joke. Good job, Bryce. I get it. Eventually, they start playing Strip Twister, which I don't know how familiar you guys are with playing Strip Twister.
Okay.
You want to offer any information? Andy, you want to offer any information?
Sounds like a bad idea.
If there's more than one guy, that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way that goes down.
Yeah.
If there's no guys, it's great.
Yeah.
One guy, even better.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening.
Yeah, right.
Yellow hand balls, and
Yeah.
I'm suddenly I got a guy's taint in my face. No thanks.
It's not fun. All of a sudden, Eric Zane is there with his pants down and sniffing his butthole. Not fun at all.
Less you.
You're listening.
Yeah, like all the time I'm listening.
WATP with Christian, Eric, and Carl sometimes.
Listen in your office, in your car, or even your neighborhood bar.
We're doing it. We're doing it. We're having fun. We're making it happen.
It's fun time.
Open your mouth, close your eyes. We're going to give you a big surprise.
And here it is.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to Who Are These Broadcasters, the only show on the internet that dares to make fun of both Bob Costas and Kamala Harris. I'm Christian Blatt, and with me, as always, is the great EZ, Eric Zane. Hello, how are you, sir?
Yeah, young man, I'm well. Everything going good for you?
Oh my gosh, it couldn't be better. Everything's great. You texted me some little behind the scenes something before the show started. Why don't you let the people know what you texted me?
Oh, I said, hey, do you mind if we're done by 3:15? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that one. And I said, yeah, let's talk about it on the air. Don't worry, we will be done by 3:15. And why is that? Okay. Because our buddy Carl has a bonus WATP scheduled for 3:30 Eastern time.
Is this an emergency show?
No, this is just one of the bonus shows for people who go to whoarethese.com and they subscribe on YouTube or they get the Patreon. It's one of those bonus shows. It's a Living in the Past with Stuttering John, where they go way back to 2018, where he was a little bit drunker, a little bit less pathetic, but equally as retarded as the way we remember him. And it's always fun. The last one of those shows they did, I was telling Carl that I enjoyed. John was on Opie's show that he did with Jim Norton for like a minute. And it was a crossover that I didn't know that we needed. Having Opie and John on the same show doesn't happen very often. That might even be the only time it ever happened. And it's like having Luke Skywalker and Spider-Man on the same show if they were both retards. So anyway, so everybody make sure you've got like an hour and a half or so to become a member and see everything that's going on over there. And Eric Zane, let people know how Super Chats work on this show.
Well, look, if you want Christian Blatt to sign off this show with something that's absurdly funny and ridiculous, something that would get him in trouble with his lovely bride.
Sure.
You leave it right here and attach a dollar amount to it, and the highest dollar amount, that is what the sign-off that Christian will have for the show. Hello, I'm Christian. Goodbye, everybody. I'm Christian Blatt, and boom.
Yeah, and I feel this way about an underprivileged minority group, something like that.
Exactly. So, all right. So there you go. There's also a way to get your chat seen if you say something funny.
Yes.
I'm getting murdered for my appearance today because someone said that I think it was DeWired said, if I saw Evesy walking down the same side of the street, I would cross the street.
Yep.
And so because I'm wearing this hat it's freezing here, for God's sake.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry to hear that. I was out in the sun yesterday and got sunburned on my neck, but we'll talk about that some other time. It's Sam Bibley, the great Sam Bibley. Eric Zane, let people know the truth about the door and about the tattoo and about the couch. What's under that blanket? Racism-themed couch?
Unbelievable. Sam's been all over it. I love Sam. And Sam wants the story about the tattoo. On a day that it's showing, I will give you the story about the tattoo.
All right. Or if we hit the goal today, everybody, if we get $350 by 3:15 Eastern time, then we will. Eric will tell you everything that you need to know about it. But until then, we have a very jam-packed show, and I want to start somewhere we usually don't: talk shows.
WATB, who are these talk shows? Who are these talk shows?
We had a lot of Kamala Harris last week. She was doing a media tour. And don't worry, I have one clip of her. And it's a doozy. This is a very natural and unforced conversation she had on air with Stephen Colbert.
You first became the nominee and named Tim Walz as your vice president nominee. People were calling it the vibe election. All the vibes were all good. But elections, I think, are won on vibes because one of the old saws is they just want somebody they can have a beer with. Uh-huh. So would you like to have a beer with me so I can tell people what that's like? Okay. This was... Now, we asked ahead of time because I can't just be giving a drink to the Vice President of the United States without asking. You asked for Miller High Life. You asked for Miller High Life. I'm just curious.
Okay, the last time I had beer was at a baseball game with Doug.
Okay, so cheers. There you
cheers.
go. There you go. Ooh. That tastes like the beautiful city of Milwaukee,
the
Wisconsin.
Champagne of beers.
There you go.
Well, I think that they can stop doing any polling, Eric. It seems to me that she has clearly won this election with that moment right there.
You know, I think she would do herself a favor if she didn't respond favorably the way she did and said, enough with this cornball moments with me, okay? Why am I here? And then just leave, just walk out. I think it actually might score her some points rather than this drivel.
Do you think that she knows that Miller High Life is the champagne of beers, or did someone on her staff and make sure to shout out that it's because it does say it on the can of Miller High Life.
Say it on the can.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So I'm sure somebody was like, make sure you shout out that it's the champagne of beers. And
and that slug line right there, the champagne of beers. That's like saying it's, the Coca-Cola of beer, for God's sake.
Well, it's the fanciest beer is what they're trying to say. This is a beer that you use to celebrate.
Is all champagne fancy, though? Not all champagne is fancy.
I only ever see it when baseball teams spray it in each other's face. That's really the only time I ever see champagne these days.
Anyway,
so
this is all her fault. This is all her fault that she's engaging these people. Now it's her fault. It was their fault. Now it's her fault.
Now it's officially gone over into her fault. Well, we've highlighted that her opponent, former President Donald Trump, he's made some great decisions about a number of shows that he's been on, a lot of podcasts. And this past week, he was on with Andrew Schulz, who has a show called Flagrant. He co-hosts that with Akash Singh and, some other people. I don't know who they are. But this is great. They did almost 90 minutes. I've used one of these clips before, so I didn't pull it. It was another one of those interviews where the hosts are like, all right, well, they told us you only had so much time, so we should wrap it. Well, no. I like you guys. Let's have more time. So he does that move again. And they do almost 90 minutes together. And, if you like entertaining conversation, you will find it if you watch the whole thing. I did pull a few things, though. And I think that there's a chance that Andrew Schulz might have sat down with a bit of an agenda. But I feel like, Eric, that Trump's one of those guys that when you start talking to him, you're like, I don't even remember what I'm supposed to not like this dude for,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I'm anxious to hear it.
So he starts off, our first clip is he wants to ask him if President Biden, is there anything he can do that you can't do?
When we talk about funny or sad, I think it's more sad than funny. Yeah. He has one ability I don't have. Yeah. He sleeps. He can sleep. This guy goes on a beach and he lays down on one of those, 6 ounce, they weigh 6 ounces and you can't lift it. Yeah. They're meant for children, young people, and old people to lift. Yeah.
So there's more conversation about Biden, but I'm finding that you're not as enjoying this as much as the people in the room, Eric.
Well, I love Trump's snark. I've always thought, whether it's true or not, I think he's a great, he insults people very well.
Correct.
And he says it in a way that almost makes it believable. All right. Whether it is or not, it doesn't matter. It's just funny to me. But that is fucking ridiculous. God damn it. I would sit there with a smile on my face, but not that. Come on.
Well, they're going to all lay it on a little bit more thick, including Trump.
Aluminum, hollowed aluminum. Yeah. They weigh very little, and he can't lift. And somebody convinced him he looks good in a bathing suit. And when you're 82, typically bathing suits aren't going to make you look great. You're not going to be enhanced. Yeah. All right? It's just one of those things. I can't be sure about that, but typically,
depends what he's packing. He could.
I don't know what the hell he's packing, but I don't want to, and I don't want to know either. I don't know, but he has an ability to fall asleep while on camera.
I like the bathing suit stuff, but you'd already laughed so hard at what was before that it was almost like, I can't go bigger there. I like the whole interaction. Like, it depends on what he's packing. I don't know. I don't want to know what he's packing in there,
That's how you see a lot of things going around, a lot of stories saying how many interviews Trump has done and how many Harris has done. None of these should count. These aren't interviews. These are just moments. Okay.
Well, there are some good moments, and it's true. It's sort of the nature of this show is that I do distill it down to moments. When we were playing Kamala on with Trump last week, you were talking about how you weren't seeing any of the policy stuff, and I'm like, well, Howard being Howard is funnier to me than her actually giving answers. But he does reveal something that I'd never heard. There's a country that apparently really doesn't like Trump.
Iran do great. I want to see Iran do great.
Yeah.
But I want to stop all the killing and all this. And I was rough on Iran, and they supposedly have a hit on me. In fact, I think it takes great courage for you people to be interviewing me, because it could be now,
Yeah. Well, we didn't know that before we got in here.
No, if
before.
you would have known that,
gonna
you might
do
not
it.
have done this.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, thank you for pointing out that Akash Singh is sitting across from him, and if there's anyone that he had the Secret Service pat down twice,
right. I don't know who Akash Singh is.
He's a comedian. Yeah.
All right. He shouldn't be laughing that hard if he's a comedian, by the way. I mean, goddamn.
I mean, Andrew Schulz is a very funny comedian. I mean, I'm no like Blind Mike with Shane Gillis when it comes to Andrew Schulz, but I think he's very funny. But yeah, there's a lot of maybe some forced laughter in the room, and I don't know. Maybe it's trying to get the extra half hour out of him.
Okay.
But I do love the idea that he's like, yeah, somebody's probably trying to kill me. Maybe we wouldn't have done this, but EZ with the observation that he knows about the hit. He's just deciding whether or not he's going to collect on it. Is that where you're going with that?
Yes.
Well, I did say that I felt like Andrew Schulz had a bit of an agenda, and there's a couple of questions where you start to think like, all right, he's trying to create the moments like this one where I'm about to play something, because he asks Trump about a former coworker of his.
What about Mike Pence? You got anything from Mike Pence?
Well, it's a shame, because he and I had a very good relationship.
What happened to him?
He couldn't cross the line of doing what was right, in my opinion. Some people would disagree with that, but he had the right to go.
So his question is, so what's he doing? Just hanging around is what Andrew Schulz says.
Jesus.
So, Trump is, I'd say like what, 99% unflappable. It's not the first time he's been asked that, but I did think he was like less going for fun there and trying to be like, maybe a little bit of a gotcha with this guy. And Trump's like, yeah, whatever. I'll say whatever about Mike Pence. It's not really hard for me.
Whereas you might have on one side of the equation interviews that are just too rigid and boring.
Yeah.
Then there's the other side of the equation, like this, where it's too much the other way. Why can't there be someone who's somewhere in the middle, who's not sucking his dick, playing devil's advocate, but not so wooden that they can't have a good time, or for it to be an entertaining interview? It's that seems like it's impossible to have these days for both candidates, in my opinion.
All right. Well, here's a question that I named the episode after. He's talking about Trump's buddy Elon Musk.
Whole new, different way of
Can I ask you a question
getting the word out, right?
about Elon specifically? Is he your favorite African American?
Because he's South African, and Trump rolls with it, and EZ's not having any of this. And I am so glad I started with this, because you're like, I don't know, an eighth of the way into your coffee cup, and this is like, no, I wanted to start off with some bears under the house of some homeowners. Not today, buddy. We are diving right into the Trump and Andrew Schulz.
I'm glad you did, because it seems to me like people who would have an idea about communicating like these people should and how to be funny would understand that it's going to be funny at some point if Trump is talking. There's going to be something enjoyable and funny and redeeming about it. You don't need to try so hard. Let that motherfucker do all the work. Say what you will about him, but he will get it done.
Well, I'm glad that you reacted in that way, because it's the perfect setup to my next clip, which Trump doesn't often get the wind knocked out of him. I said he's unflappable, but I think that this reaction surprised him. And this is one of those instances where when you shovel your own bullshit long enough, you kind of forget when things aren't even really remotely true.
I always refer back to the simplicity of McDonald's. She lied about McDonald's. She lied about many things, and she's a liar. There should be some kind of a rule when they know it's a lie, you can't do a commercial on it. But this is a thing that's going to end in 29 days, so they can say what they want. I have a hard time doing it to them because I'm basically a truthful person. But and frankly, she's given me so much ammunition.
So he laughed so hard he can't even ask his question because Trump says I'm basically a truthful person, and I take that as Schulz is like, oh, clearly that's another Trump joke. Oh no, he's serious now. I'm laughing harder, but yeah.
Oh my God! So these guys are laughing in Trump's face after he makes that comment.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't be surprised if Trump actually lost his shit there because that was so embarrassing.
Well, that's why I was surprised. This was the first clip from this interview that I saw, but I wanted to build a narrative. So let's see it again.
I have a hard time doing it to them because I'm basically a truthful person. But and frankly, she's given me so much ammunition. I don't really have to. I mean, she's a radical left lunatic.
You're
no one heard that. No one heard Trump say that about her being arrested. No one even gives a shit because this guy is going, what does that mean? He said it 3 times. What does that mean? What does that mean? Wow.
And he's being laughed at by a guy who I don't know whose pants he's borrowing here, but you see Andrew Schulz is showing a lot of calf.
He sure is.
He's got the high socks. And are those capri pants? I don't think they are actually.
And did you say earlier he's a comic or is he just a commentator?
He's a stand-up comedian. He has a number of specials. He's very successful comedian. He plays arenas. He's like that level.
Okay.
So yeah. And I've heard him mostly as a guest on other shows. I find him to be very entertaining and funny. And there's a couple of moments here that I felt like, reflected the fact like, okay, yeah, this guy is very funny because he's sort of playing the long game in terms of doing the interview. My last clip from this interview, he asks him about his youngest son, Barron, who just started at NYU.
This situation. Okay. Barron is 18. He's handsome. He's tall.
Yeah.
He's rich.
He's got the whole ball.
He's unleashed in New York City. Are you sure you want to reverse Roe v. Wade now? I mean, maybe give him a few years,
it's up to the states.
And then he goes into a policy answer.
That's actually funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's why I saved it for last because I was like, all right, Easy's gonna have to leave. They laugh in his face and they're like, "Are you sure about overturning Roe v. Wade?" And perhaps just speculation here. Trump is calculating the number of abortions that he maybe personally felt like he needed to pay for in his life.
Well, Trump's probably going to love talking about that. Isn't that the son isn't he a little Aspergery or is he's got the tism or something?
No, his youngest son. You might be thinking of like Eric. So this is his 18-year-old son who just started at NYU.
Yeah, that's the kid I'm talking about.
That's Eric Zane who thinks he might be Aspergery. I'm sure he's a fine kid as far as I'm concerned.
No, I thought seemed like he was a little touched or something when during the first election they would show him and I'm like, oh, that kid, he's got it.
He's a giant now. And I'm so glad that this came up because I've had this next clip for like a month. And this is a collection of NYU students talking about their new classmate, Barron Trump.
Campus right now. You know Barron Trump is attending NYU this year.
I heard that, but I don't think it's true.
Until today, Barron's pick of schools has been top secret, undisclosed from the public. This is him arriving today.
He's going to NYU, so if he's at all interested in girls, he's going to become kind of liberal. I'm going to tell you that.
Who his daddy is. He definitely know how to make money.
I feel really bad for him. He did not choose this life.
His dad is his dad, and he's his own person, so I'm not going to judge.
Are you worried about like Secret Service and everything being on campus?
Worried? No. Excited and intrigued.
That's too federal for me.
Would you be friends with him?
Absolutely not. Of course, who doesn't want to be a friend with the Trump?
Speaks to like the privilege that a lot of the NYU kids have. I'm only here because of financial aid. My mom's gonna want me to marry him.
I'm gonna be like, yo, let's make a diss track against Kamala.
That's my favorite guy. The guy who's like going to go up to him and like, hey, let's make a diss track against Kamala Harris. So yeah, there's a lot of reactions in there. And I think that of two of the ladies speaking, there's one that I'm leaning to actively trying to get impregnated by Baron Trump. There's one that I think it's not possible. And then the other one I believe is like, oh, this is a great idea, right?
See that hip? It's a sexy look. All right. Now women do that when their ovaries are bursting. So
wow.
That's true too. I'm telling you, I studied body language in college. And that right there, if you see a chick leaning on more on one leg than the other, she's ready to screw you. I have no idea if that's true. I just made all that shit up off the top of my head.
So wait a minute, you didn't study body language in college?
No.
I can't believe
so convincing. I know.
I can't believe you've started lying to me now. You know, we've been doing this for more than a year. When are the lies going to stop, Eric? So I thought it was fun to kind of see the reactions here, but it's mostly this girl that made me pull the clip that she's like, oh no, I'm not worried about Secret Service at all. She's like, my mother would want me to marry him. Okay. Yeah. Like you don't want to fuck him. All right.
And she's a butterface too.
Yeah. Yeah. That's unfortunate. Shout out to our audio only audience. You can just assume that
nice body.
This 4.5 face but 8.5 body from somewhere on Long Island is going to try and approach Baron Trump at a party. And Secret Service has a policy only 8s and above. You know, that's all that is allowed to talk to Baron at college parties. So we're having fun talking about Baron Trump because before he was 18, we weren't supposed to talk about it. But I guess now we're allowed to. You know, that was the Chelsea Clinton rule. They talked about her on SNL once, and then all of a sudden no one was allowed to talk about her ever again. And Barron, when Trump became president, he was, I don't know, he's like 10. So obviously, now we can have fun and talk about butterfaces trying to grind on him at frat parties. I
don't know if anybody's ever heard him speak before.
Not much. I've heard his voice, but yeah, you're right. He does look like, they should have tried to cast him to play Donald in that movie, The Apprentice, that's out now, which I haven't seen yet, but I
just picture him running up and down the lecture hall saying hot water burn baby and shit. And I just can't put it past him. I just remember him being all fucking weird. And when he was 10, so it must be like that when he's 18.
I don't want to get us canceled. Are you sure you're not thinking of Tim Walz's son? You're thinking of okay, I just wanted to make sure. All right, I'm just asking questions.
I know Tim Walz's son. That's the kid who was screaming at the DNC, you know?
Yeah, well, remember that guy lost his radio job for calling him a blubbering bitch boy. So we talked about that here.
Right. No. This is much different. JFK Head Chunk says super quiet, kind of autistic. So people are coming around to my assumption that he's been blessed with the tism, which is awesome. I mean, to me, people with the tism have a superpower. I'm hoping I catch it at some point, frankly.
Yeah, I think you could probably get it. Keep your vaccinations up. That's apparently how you get autism. Well, we're already in it, but let's officially embrace the era of politics.
Who are these politics? Who are these politics?
All right, so this happened yesterday, and I've spent a lot of time with this clip and the 20 plus minutes that follow. I've looked around for explanations to make sure that I understand what actually happened. I don't want to come on here half-cocked or like easy, no-cocked. I come on here and I want to have some information. And a very weird town hall that Trump did in Pennsylvania with future ASPCA chairman Kristi Noem was the moderator. And pretty early on, he decides he just doesn't enjoy the vibes. So this is the exchange that he has.
Let's not do any more questions. Let's just listen to music. Let's make it into a music. Who the hell wants to hear questions, right? Isn't that beautiful, though? It's so beautiful. We played that in Butler, Pennsylvania, we had a moment of silence, and then we had the bells of Notre Dame go off, and then we had a great opera singer, Christopher, who was so incredible. And
So they're definitely pushing the narrative now that the left doesn't have the senile old guy that doesn't make sense. They're talking about how now this is the senile old guy who doesn't make sense. They listen to a lot of copywritten music for the next 20 minutes. He really just has like a music listening party. Ave Maria. I guess I could have pulled the clip and just muted the music, but the way that he just sits and kind of embraces it.
Oh, that sounds so awkward. So you have to sit through a fucking song and him just standing there?
But it's like 5 songs. So people just start leaving. And I look, I know how much our chat and our Discord like to fact check some of the things that I believe, because I do look at the libcuck media and this is amazing from Intelligent Counterspell. Wow, that is Jabba in the back. And who's that on the right? Salacious Crumb. Now, Salacious Crumb recently got brought up on WATP. He's the little rat guy who sits by Jabba the Hutt. And he laughs at
Yeah, I remember that. I didn't know that was the guy's name. That was thing, you know?
Well, if you have if you buy the action figures, that's when you tend to know the names. That, some of the characters have names like Prune Face, believe it or not, which, in 2024, we couldn't call anyone a Prune Face, but that's besides the point. So anyway, the concern is so he's getting nothing but softball questions. Is Christie know him? It's his buddy, and, it's more like, Mr. President, you say you want to make America great again, but how are you going to make America great again? Yeah. No more questions. No, that's not literally what she asked, by the way. Yeah. No more questions. How about we just listen to music? Does that sound cool?
Right.
Yeah.
Which, here you have a home cooking, quote unquote, town hall.
Yeah.
It's silly that there would be to even think that there would be anything of substance in this entire moment.
Yeah, and there is not. So I wonder how our chat feels about this, because I always figure, well, they're going to tell me. I'm like, no, because I did see somebody tweeted that there was a medical emergency, which that happens at these events sometimes, but no, it's literally like 20 plus minutes of listening to music. So I'm not quite sure as to what he's doing. So I'm going to do this in the way that I don't usually do this is I don't usually just go to Twitter to pull what we would call a live tweet easy. And this is basically what I'm talking about. And I'm not going to share the music because of what it sounds like. But if you want to see him just sort of gesturing and moving around, this may or may not be Ave Maria. This could be a different song, but this is basically what he does for like 20 minutes. He's just listening to the music, and you can see these guys like this bearded guy in the background is just clapping. Some would say that those are the people who are paid to be there, but I'm not one of the ones saying that, but there are those who would say it. So we're seeing him now for our audio audience. He's really just, like when you're half-heartedly doing the hokey pokey, he's just moving his head. Yeah. And I've definitely done white guy nods. I went and saw the Beastie Boys once. I just kind of nodded my head a little bit. I didn't know what I was supposed to do.
That's what you do when you go to a wedding and you're out there dancing slowly with your wife, and then fucking Jungle Love comes on right after, and you don't, you can't make that exit quick enough. So you do this move a few times.
Yeah.
Then maybe a shimmy, a shake, but by the time the chorus, you're gone,
Yeah, and there are people legitimately concerned about the former president, that he might be hitting the pavement a little too hard. The clip didn't end up being funny, but he did a podcast. I think he recorded it yesterday. He seems very tired. His voice is weaker. And look, this is his job. This is his lifeblood. He's trying to get back into the White House. And some would say he's trying to stay out of jail, but that's not me. That's what some of you would say out there. I'm not saying that.
Okay.
I don't know if he's saying that.
Well, I mean, he's probably like this would be a nice side effect if I win the presidency. I'm going to stay out of jail if I win. So
Right.
it's
Well,
for,
yeah, exactly.
for him, it's win-win.
Oh yeah, no, I try to tell even my my furthest to the left friends, like, he's never going to spend a day in jail, right? Like, it's just not going to happen. JFK head chunk, that is the dance from concert goers in a suite. Yeah, that's when you're not down on the floor with all the pores. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And by the way, it's a quick, perfect opportunity to point out that 30 minutes in, 45 left. We're going for the goal of 0.
Oh, we're doing the reverse goal today.
And
all right.
We have 0.
Help us hit
Holy
our goal. Okay. No gifted memberships, no super chats, no Rumble rants, no Streamlabs. Don't look up my Venmo. Do not send me money on Venmo. I don't want it. I'm not going to give it back, but I don't want it. I'm going to keep all of it. We're
I
saying
would like
we
to
don't
call
want
this
it.
brilliant reverse psychology, but it's actually terrible. That is going to guarantee that we get $0.
Yeah, I know. JFK Head Chunk rescued us last week, and I don't see KJ hanging out today, so it's all right. Look, I have a sign off to use when I get no super chats.
Okay,
I've
good.
had it ready to go for like a year now.
Well,
so it's fine.
I mean, at the end of the day, Slumlord Carl is going to get paid. Okay, so what you're doing here by being in attendance, so Carl gets paid, Vinny gets paid, and the goddamn talent behind everything funny and amazing and interesting and awesome gets zilch. Eric zilch.
Well, that's how you know we're the best show, that no one wants to pay for it. That tells you they just cherish the fact that it's free. I said earlier that Trump doesn't usually get the wind knocked out of him. However, he does possibly, allegedly, occasionally let the wind out himself. If you believe this clip I'm about to play, yes, it has enhanced audio. And yes, I know it can be fake. But it's so goddamn funny that let's take a listen to him speaking in Detroit.
Catastrophe for the American dream and a dire crisis.
So there's a version of that where it's very soft, but they raise the audio in that part. And yes, I could do the side-by-side comparison, but that one's so funny that I just want to play the fart one.
American dream and a dire crisis.
It sounds like a lion's roar.
Yeah, it does. That's the weirdest sounding fart. Is this supposed to be a fart? It's not like a burp to me.
Yeah. Also, I don't care if it's fake. It's just too funny for me. It's fine. He's not going to lose He's not going to lose half a vote, by the way, if he farted on that stage. What were you going to say, Eric?
Is this the one where you made the comment about Detroit?
Oh, I'm so glad you asked because, if you know Detroit better than I do, you're a Michigander.
Well, this is proof positive.
Yeah.
All right. That this is the most truthful politician on the planet. There can be nothing less truth or more truthful than what he says here. Okay. All right.
So
now
you know
I
what
say
he
that
says
with an asterisk. Okay. And I'll play the clip and then I'll explain.
Yeah. We'll play it and then you react.
Thing that we're talking about today is high on her list. The whole country is going to be like, you want to know the truth? It'll be like Detroit. Our whole country will end up being like Detroit if she's your president. You're going to have a mess on your hands. She just...
So
shit the balls.
You know this shithole we're standing in right now?
Shit.
The whole country is going to be this much of a shithole if she becomes president.
I can promise you he got more people who are undecided to decide to vote for him with that comment. That is so 1,000,000% true to a degree. All right. They're doing this whole revitalization, which as long as I've been associated with Detroit growing up there, there's been about 10 of these moments where they go, oh, they're coming back. Oh, here we come, America. And every time it's kind of fucked. So I don't know, whatever. I mean, if that means building another, because they're going, oh, look at the bullshit. The Lions are winners now. We're Detroit. It's like, well, okay, great. Your fucking football team's good. But come on.
So
give me a fucking break.
I think a great way to illustrate the current status of Detroit is that on October 25th, there's a WATP live show that's sold out. It's the Detroit show, but where's it actually being held, Eric?
Yeah, right. And Ferndale or
Yeah.
Royal Oak or some shit. I don't know.
Ferndale. Yeah. It's in
One
the
of the
Magic Bag in
suburbs.
Ferndale. So, yeah. And wait till you hear this this possibly homoerotic road trip that I took. A buddy of mine and we did like a Major League Baseball stadium trip one summer because we both were working on TV shows and we know we were going to come back. And I was talking to people, but we went to a Tigers game. We got 2 pieces of advice: go to a day game, stay in the suburbs, eat dinner out in the suburbs. So we did all of those things. This was in 2002.
Right.
And so that's my experience with Detroit. So that's all I know. I just took the advice from
have
people who know
nice
better.
shit, okay? We don't have nice stuff here. It's the way we like it, you know? We're the guy who when his dog shits on the floor, it stays there for about 5-6 days. You know, whatever, I'll get it later. No big deal. Doesn't even stink anymore.
If you wanted somebody to stand up for the city of Detroit, stand up to Donald Trump, you would need a man's man, somebody really sharp, somebody really tough, somebody like Tim Walz.
If I would have ever spent any time in the Midwest, like all of us know, we'd know Detroit's experiencing American comeback and renaissance.
There it is. That's what I'm telling you about.
I know. I love that you had that narrative, not knowing that Tim Walz was about to talk about it.
Yeah. They've been...
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's fucking unbelievable. I've been reading about this comeback since I was like 8.
Yeah.
All right. I'm 55, 54. Oh, we're coming back. We're building cars that don't suck dick. Oh, shit. Oh, God, we suck again. Oh, no. Fuck. We got a good football team. Oh, we suck. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been going on forever. It's all right. It's fine. It's nice enough for us because we're kind of fucking filthy, but it kind of sucks.
Yeah, they did a new Beverly Hills Cop movie for Netflix last year or earlier this year, and I feel like they had to film the Detroit sequences in the beginning in another city because there just wasn't anywhere photogenic enough in Detroit for them to actually use because they did not film the Detroit sequences in Detroit. I believe it's in New Orleans. So when New Orleans is the city that looks better than yours, you know that we might have some work to do. Yeah.
I throw this out to Dust Cloud. Threw out a super chat, and
okay.
My standoff sign off is.
Well, I'm just gonna say what he wrote, which is F those F and N's and J's, and there's 26 letters in the alphabet. Those are not my favorite letters. Okay, so yeah, so that's fine. Oh my gosh, hey, the reverse goal worked. Stop giving us money. We don't want your money. Stop paying us for this show. Hey, Hulkamania, if you're watching, you better not do any gifted memberships, all right? We really don't want gifted memberships. We don't want anybody to give us any money during this hour and a half. Give your gifted memberships during the bonus episode that Carl's doing, although technically you need to already be a member to be watching. But go ahead and do it anyway. What were you going to say, Eric?
Labyrinth Mystic. I think I said that right.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry. LeBron Mystic is what that's supposed to be, probably.
I got it. Yeah.
Quote, speaking of Roe v. Wade, better a splat on the linoleum than a brat I have to raise. And that's a great sign off.
That's going to be a great sign off.
6 minutes. We've gotten $7 since I mentioned it. God, that was brilliant.
As soon as you said to stop giving us money, this might be working.
God, I'm great.
I want to get back to our buddy Tim Walz, who he's going to try and make a point about the heart and soul of the Midwest versus the big political machine.
Look, I'm a Twins fan, and you whipped our ass. We know where this is, Detroit.
That's him appealing. Like, yeah, my team is bad, and well, your team was good for like a minute, which we'll talk about later.
It's there, so we know. City's growing, crime's down, factories are opening up.
Okay, I have to ask you: are any of those things true? Is crime down? Are
no
factories opening up? Okay.
Like I said, in all these years, every time I turned around, I was like, oh, God, man, there's some fucking Walter Mondale just said that crime's down. Factories are up. Oh, fuck yes. We've been hearing that forever. Fuck that shit. Quit talking about it.
But those guys, all they know about manufacturing is manufacturing bull. every time they show up.
I tried really hard to find it where it wasn't bleeped, but I could only find the bleeped version. But he's like, yeah, those guys only know about manufacturing bullshit. Am I right? And everybody's like, I mean, all right. Yeah, I guess. Sure, Tim.
Jesus Christ.
But don't worry. Go ahead.
Detroit is perfect for when you go to Detroit and you do a political rally.
Yeah.
Everything you say is going to draw that. They're always, going to Detroit. If you want to get a moment where you're going to get a pop in the polls because of the patriotic or hardworking things that you say that get people fired up about the election, you go to Detroit. Okay. Yes. Where it's all blue collar and we're tough and we've been kicked and we're down, but we're still fighting, but they're not. I mean, come on.
No, it's over. I mean, God bless you, Hulkamania. I love how much this worked. Hulkamania gifted 10 Who Are These Podcast memberships. Hulkamania, I didn't even know you were there. I kind of thought you weren't. I'm like this much embarrassed, but the fact that he went and did it, God bless you, Hulkamania. 10 Who Are These Podcast memberships. That means that all of you who receive that gifted membership, you'll be able to watch live recordings of WATP on Wednesdays and Saturdays. You'll also get the bonus episodes like the one that's going to happen right after this show at 3:30 Eastern Time, Living in the Past with Stuttering John. Hulkamania, you are the man. Thank you so much for the gifted memberships. That is the best way to show your support for Who Are These Podcasts, the channel, and also for this show. So Hulkamania, if you'd wear one, I'd even send you a Black Cast t-shirt, but really only Kyle wanted one of those. Literally no one else wants one of those. Hamilton Burger. I'm Christian and I dream of tongue bathing Carl Hamburger's club toes. He gave $8 Canadian. Hulkamania, my man. Thank you, Carl. HEBERGER. I love when Hulkamania steps up, and we appreciate that. All right, I've got one more zinger from funny man Tim Walz. Are you ready for it? I just switched to
what did you just do?
Just literally switched to the worst of all the screens, but that's all right. I'm blinded by 10 gifted memberships.
Heard this. We just found out his Trump-branded Bibles. Yeah, they're printed in China.
Yeah,
this dude even outsourced God to China. So just so we know.
Okay, hang on.
Again, I'm going to try and be generous here. I don't blame him. He didn't notice the Made in China sticker because they put it inside a place he's never looked in the Bible. So
Tim Walz!
Okay.
Tim Walz, everybody. Drop the mic. He's never opened a Bible. Fucking Tim Walz.
Did you see the faces of the two guys behind him? I mean, there was one guy who looked like he might laugh, but the rest of the people that are wearing their stupid hard hats behind him are just like, fucking stop it.
Yeah, I don't want to play the clip again, but I do want to show off the people you're talking about that are back there. Yeah, all those hard hats.
Yeah.
And by the way, is this guy on the end? Is that Morbius from The Matrix?
Right. Oh God!
Look, I just made an allegation against a Trump rally that I've heard about. How many of these people were paid to be there? And I'm going to ask a more important question, Eric. If one guy was paid to be here, which one do you think it is?
Boy, I don't know. I couldn't say.
It's Morbius. Yeah, it's definitely Morbius.
Well, and then I think that the ones that are laughing are paid to laugh. They have to because they're losing it. And while the people behind them are just sitting there stone-faced, they're hearing the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I agree. And by the way, what I realized is because I've been using this computer for a few months, but I didn't disable the thing that happens to Stuttering John when he does his show. So I had see, now it's not happening. I had the balloons show up when, it's not, this is what I did, right? I don't know. I can't even make it happen.
Is that why I noticed the balloons? What did you do?
There's like a few things you can do to make fireworks, and I forget what they all are. And John, for the longest time, didn't disable any of them. I think somebody talked him into it, but I didn't realize that this computer had those in there.
So when you do that, you move a certain way. I see balloons falling from the sky.
But now I don't know how to do it because I want the balloons to come, because if anybody deserved balloons, it was Hulkamania, my man. Thank you for doing that. All right. Well, that's enough of that clip of Tim Walz. Sorry. All right. Let's again, we're not trying to rush through the show, but we are a little pressed for time, and there's a lot of ground to cover.
Thank God.
We have to get over to Who Are These Sportscasters?
Home of the hourly triple play.
W-A-T-B. Who are these sportscasters? Just listen and find out. Who are these sportscasters?
So, in the interest of time, I will not necessarily play all this. You let me know when you need to tap out, but I have to give credit to Awful Announcing, which, yes, I do get quite a few of my sports clips from, but I would never have seen this. I would have, yeah, but that's a great X account. They have a website. Everybody should follow them if you enjoy the sports clips that we show. So after the Dallas Cowboys suffered their worst defeat of the Jerry Jones era, yes, that was a 47-9 loss to who, Eric? Who did they lose to?
The freaking Lions, baby.
Yeah. So to his credit, Jerry Jones makes a weekly appearance on a sports talk station. So he did make that appearance, but then to his discredit, he handled it this way. So this is 105.3 The Fan, and the hosts are Shan and RJ. And I'm going to say, and anytime you want to tap out of this, Eric, you let me know. It's about 2.5 minutes, but let's just say one of the least likable figures in professional sports comes off badly, even for him here.
I'll do. Let me tell you what I'll do about it. I will let us sit down and look at the decisions we've made over the last several years. Okay? I'll look at it. Now, if you think I'm interested on a damn phone call with you over a radio and sitting here and throwing all the good out with the dishwater, you have got to be smoking something over there this morning. I'm not.
So that's the first pause. There's still a lot more. So the host is like, okay. And, look, I've heard a lot. I've heard coaches, I've heard owners, I've heard a lot of these sort of regular appearances, and they sometimes go poorly. I don't even know what that means. So JFK Head Chunk, I don't know who played who in Roots. What is Roots? You mean the Canadian company that makes T-shirts and jackets?
No, you dumbass. Alex Haley, Roots.
I don't even know what that is. I don't know that's where I don't know that's where LeVar Burton came from. I don't know anything about it. What we're talking about now is Jerry Jones. And so this guy tries to kind of brush it off. That's not the first time he's going to try to kind of move past this. But Jerry Jones is very dug in for the fact that this guy had the audacity to talk about how much money you have and your team is so bad consistently, losing 47-9 to the Lions, who I'm not saying aren't a great football team, but that's an embarrassment. So this guy wants to get back.
Embarrassing.
Yeah, the guy wants to get back to the conversation.
And I really don't, and I don't even want our listeners to listen to me, to talk about, this is not your job. Your job isn't to let me go over all the reasons that I did something and I'm sorry that I did it. That's not your job.
Well, my job is to ask why.
Job, or I'll get somebody else to ask these questions, man.
Jerry, we're trying to figure out why the team is.
I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you.
So Jerry's not having it. These three guys.
I think when he said he's talking about their job, I can feel it. I can feel them turn on him.
Yeah.
The guy tries to explain himself to some degree. He's not listening. So we're at a crossroads here. I actually think this is excellent. I can't wait to hear the next part of it.
Oh yeah, these guys are great. And by the way, we're showing these guys because like most radio shows, this also airs on TV.
Right.
And these three guys are different stages of JD Vance's life. There's like before he got into politics, there's probably when he ultimately becomes a super twink up in the top left,
right,
and then right there in the middle. So yeah, he literally threatened this guy's job, which wait till you hear what Shannon Sharp had to say about this when we're done.
Okay, good.
So, and they're just trying to respond like, we're supposed to ask you questions that are hard questions,
right?
We're not going to be disrespectful, but it's also like, how do we get better?
Right.
You're not going to figure out what the team is doing right or wrong. If you are, or any 5 or 10 like you, You need to come to this meeting I'm going to today. There are 32 teams here. You're geniuses.
Jerry,
okay? Y'all really think you're going to sit here with a microphone and tell me all of the things that I've done wrong and without going over the rights?
And what I'll say about the hosts, all three of them know that the gold here is to let Jerry talk.
Right.
When he's not letting us talk, we're not gonna pot down his mic. We're not gonna mute him. He's talking over us. Already said that he can find 5-10 other people who can do our job. What
exactly. Those guys, you can tell they're kind of like going, so they're kind of like weakly doing it, but they're not doing it enough. They need to jump in and say, hold up. But they don't have the nerve to do that because they have basically been threatened somehow by this fucking idiot.
Right. And, look, you're on sports radio in Dallas. If Jerry Jones has a vendetta for you, you're going to find yourself in another market fairly soon.
Right. Right.
You're going to be so excited to talk about Arizona Cardinals football next season,
Exactly.
So let's get a little bit more of this.
Now, listen, we both know we're talking to a lot of great fans and a lot of great listeners. And I am very sorry for what happened out there Sunday. I'm sick about what happened Sunday. Now, I'm not talking to these yahoos on the end of this phone. I'm talking to you, the fans that are listening this morning.
So he's not talking to and he can't even say yahoos, these yahoos on the other end of this phone.
Oh, my God. Well, now, can we, in your brain, do you remember what set him off? What led to this?
So I read an article about it, and it was, I think, one question too many about, but they're probably, look, if this is a 27-9 loss, he's probably taking it a little bit more in stride.
Right.
But I think the last thing he wants is to really have his feet held to the fire for all the money that he gave Dak Prescott. To have multiple homes and perhaps not be the most effective quarterback in the NFL.
Right.
Perhaps.
Jesus. God, this is something.
And we can spend a lot of time going over zigging and zagging. One of the stupidest things I've ever done that anybody has ever analyzed is buy the Cowboys. It was an idiot.
Well, finally, he's making some sense. What? Yeah. Well, he's like, the stupidest thing I ever did was buy the Cowboys. I was an idiot. And he tries to make
it. Yeah. It's worth like 100 times what you paid for it. I don't know how stupid it was.
Yeah, I know. It's like George Steinbrenner spending $10 million for the New York Yankees. It's all right. Yeah, it's fine.
Did that. So idiot things can turn into good decisions. Okay? Smart things can turn into bad decisions. The facts are that when you make one, you don't really know whether it's going to be good or not.
They're being talked down to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just go ahead. I'm trying to answer your questions, man.
Oh, bullshit.
You want some conversation this morning? You're getting it.
Yeah. I'm trying to answer your questions. No, I told you to stop asking me questions.
Yes. That's bad. And these guys are just I don't, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I don't blame them for being scared to death.
Yeah, no, that's like in that market, you can't fuck with that guy.
And
they're trying to figure out, how do I not lose the respect of my audience, but also how do I not lose my job? And I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Eric?
No, yeah, I think you hit it, and I think that the everybody in the room and everybody in the audience knows what's happening there.
Yeah,
and they're probably like feel bad for those guys on that show because anybody can come at them and say, "How come you didn't stand up to him?" But yeah, that's a tough one. I actually give him credit for thinking about the big picture. I probably wouldn't have because I'm kind of stupid. And so I probably would have said something because I would let my emotions get in the way. But these guys are smarter than that. So,
well, on ESPN this morning, Shannon Sharp had some thoughts about that conversation.
Put a man in fear for his job. I hate, I detest, I despise someone that will prey on the weak. And because Jerry Jones is in an advantageous situation, because he has the power in this situation, he would actually say that publicly. That tells me a lot about a man. That'll tell me a lot about a man that has power and would abuse that power to tell that man, I will get somebody in here to ask me favorable questions. That is absolutely that guy's job, is to ask, Jerry, why didn't, Stephen A., what you should have done is said, well, Jerry, You see the way you guys were getting ran through last year? And you mean to tell me you had guys on the bench that could have done a better job, and you're waiting till this year to play them? That doesn't sound very smart to me.
No,
Well, I don't know about you, Saturday Swagoo, but normally guys that can play, they normally play. But back to this.
Yeah, back to this.
What do you think his job was? See, Jerry wants all the credit when things go well, but none of the blame. He told us how many times, the buck stopped with me. Any deal that's ever happened, I either signed off on it or I got notified of it. Now you getting trounced. You getting run through like Sherman went through Atlanta during the Civil War, and now you want no part of it when they ask you about it.
Too soon, Shannon.
Boy, this is embarrassing. And I don't take this lightly. If the Cowboys don't win another playoff game or another game, as long as Jerry Jones is the owner, I'll be the happiest man in the world.
Okay, thank you, Black Porky Pig.
I was just wondering exactly what you were sitting on there. Yeah. So I did like that Shannon was all fired up. And you know, he eventually got
I fucking loved him in the Green Mile. He was so good in that. God damn.
So the big story in the world of sports is probably well, there's a few, but one of them is Bob Costas. And this comes up every year. And Bob Costas and Ron Darling had the call for TBS in the ALDS between the Kansas City Royals and the New York Yankees. And I promised over the weekend on the Aussie Guys show, United States of Australia, our buddy Carl was on. I was like, oh yeah, we're definitely going to dive into this. I have to get to a few clips. Let's just start off with a typical Bob Costas call. This is there an RBI scores. There's an RBI here on this play. I realize how stupid saying RBI scores. All right. There's an RBI in this play. And listen to the way that Bob paints a picture.
Hits one well in the gap at left center field, and that's going to get down. Soto heading for third and being waved home. The peg to the plate is late. It's an RBI double for Stanton, who pumps his fist as he arrives at second base, and the Yanks jump in front, 1-0.
Okay. So he said everything that happened. Very matter of fact.
This is on TV. It's not on the radio.
This is not the radio.
Okay.
No.
That's the first thing I thought.
Yeah, no. This is for TBS. And so he doesn't necessarily have the fire in his belly. And my next clip shows, oh, is he even watching the game?
Line drive, base hit to center field. Ooh. It was smothered out there. I don't know if it was caught.
It was caught.
Oh, my gosh.
So Ron Darling's job is usually to be like, yeah, Bob, it's very clearly caught. It's not like, you know, one of those ones where you snow cone it and it's like at the end of the glove.
No.
Very clearly this is caught.
It was smothered out there. I don't know if it was caught.
It was caught.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my gosh. He's reacting to everything as opposed to 1/2 second, 1 second behind the play and announcing it that way. He's announcing it right at the exact moment. And that's why he's kind of like narrating every single second of it, whether it's inaccurate or accurate based on what he's seeing.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe I selectively chose sections of the game that weren't that exciting or any of these games. So this is the end of a game. I'm sure that he has a good call here.
Tommy Pham. First pitch, bouncing to short. Volpe backs up, throws, and that's that.
Would you think that the Yankees just won and took a 2-1 advantage in the series in that moment? And that's that.
Wow. What happened to Bob Costas? Is he sick or something?
Well, he had that pink eye at the Olympics a few years ago.
100 years ago.
No, maybe it never went away. So this is probably the most egregious. So this is the top of the 9th inning, game 4 of the American League Division Series against the Royals. The Royals are on the verge of elimination, and the Yankees are about to advance to the next round, the American League Championship Series, where they might actually win because they can't face the Astros. So Bob Costas decides this is the situation to have this conversation with the audience.
You know, we were talking with Aaron Boone before the game, and I said to him, you know that game, that movie game, 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, how supposedly you can connect anybody who's ever been in the film business to Kevin Bacon in 6 moves or less. I said, you won't even need 6 moves to connect Aaron Boone to almost everybody, certainly since the midpoint of the 20th century, which goes back to his grandfather with the Cleveland Indians in 1948, and his brother Brett, and his dad, Bob Boone, who played toward the end of his illustrious career as a Gold Glove catcher.
I'm not going to stop it. I'm letting it go.
Played with
intentionally
the Royals in the last 2 years of his career, 89 and 90. And Boone remembers loving that Royals team with George Brett and Brett Saberhagen and Bo Jackson and Kevin Seitzer. And so the clubhouse guy here goes into a closet and comes up with Bob Boone's powder blue 1990 Kansas City Royals uniform and gives it to Boone. I'm telling you, just name anybody.
That's right.
And not only can you connect Boone to him, Boone probably has a story about them and probably has some sort of friendship with them.
So that's with 1 out in the top of the 9th inning, about to end the series, and he tells that 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon story.
And he does such a very good job at saying the words.
Sure.
But it's nonsense. It's like listening to a paranoid schizophrenic trying to make sense of the world.
Yeah, and so he's not doing the next round of the playoffs. I guess he's done now. So you know, we can save all of our Bob Costas memes until next year. And shout out to Ron Darling, who has to sit there with him. He's part of the greatest team in baseball, which is the Mets broadcast booth. It's not just me. All the polls say it. But these calls of Bob Costas on a Yankees game where there's no feeling and there's no emotion seems like the perfect way to offset the return, like the phoenix rising from the ashes, or perhaps Jesus of Nazareth. I'm, of course, talking about John Sterling, who retired earlier this year, but he's back on the radio for the New York Yankees. So let's hear how a Giancarlo Stanton home run could be called.
Swung on a high fly to left. Back goes Melendez on the track. He's at the wall, and she's gone. A Stantonian home run. He drove a high fly deep left into the Yankee bullpen to give the Yankees a 3-2 lead. Giancarlo, no si può scoparlo.
Remember,
and the Yankees now take the lead with 6 outs to go.
Remember, he has nicknames and jokes for everybody, and I don't know what that was. I guess he said something in Italian. Yeah,
I thought he was. It is far. It is high. It is fast. It is gone.
Yeah, he doesn't always say that.
No,
but yeah.
Well, he thought that was like a pop up to like the infield at first.
Yeah, that might have been part of it. But I've got one other John Sterling clip, which is the end of the the American League Championship Series. This is the last call in the final game.
To Gurriel, a high fly to center. This is it. Judge is there. He makes the catch. Ball game over. American League Division Series over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
That's what I remember.
So
yeah, that's his other go-to.
I remember that.
Yeah, and if you don't enjoy the Yankees, you really hate that call. But look, Costas could use a little more of that. That's my point. You know what I'm saying?
Don't the Yankees have some bitch crack whore who does baseball too? What's that horrible voice hag?
Susan Waldman is the other part of the radio voice. I have no sense about the crack horridness of it. But see now, and we're trying to be done, but we're trying to get through the next batch. But you did bring her up.
Yeah, I got it.
Feet.
Outs to go.
Well, the first Yankee home run is brought to you by your local Kia dealers. Visit kia.com to discover a movement that inspires.
Oh my goodness! It's the most outrageous thing I've ever seen. Roger Clemens is in the owner's box.
Somebody give me some coffee, please. Coffee.
I feel like we need to tidy up some of the baseball threads we've been talking about in recent weeks. We need to acknowledge the fact that the Detroit Tigers were sent home, and it was because of this moment, really. Cleveland Guardians' Lane Thomas hits a grand slam off Tigers phenom Michael Skubal. But because it's this show, let's hear how the Spanish called that.
Oh, nice.
Lane Thomas, pero tiene impulsadas en esta serie. El lanzamiento.
¡Ahí está! ¡Ahí está!
¡Gran salami para Lane Thomas! ¡Locura en el principio! ¡Un lanzamiento y no fue!
Still going.
¡Se fue! ¡Se fue! ¡Se fue! Segundo cuadrangular de la serie de Lane Thomas. No.
Listening to those guys, you'd think that a girl in a short skirt just got on the subway.
Yes, that's why we need open borders, just to get more of these legends amongst us. I just want to be near them.
Yeah. Oh no, exactly. I love their excitement and their enthusiasm. My New York Mets did advance past the Philadelphia Phillies, and the story here isn't the Mets' success as much as the way that Philly fans are taking it. So here is a young lady that spoke to the local news. There's a couple of people in this piece, but one in particular, I believe, speaks for all of Phillies Nation.
Couple low points in my life. My dog passing away and them getting a grand slam. The grand slam took the cake.
Courtney O'Neill was not a fan of that outcome.
I feel like I might either check into AA, therapy, or an institute of some sort because this is crap.
I mean, I guess that's what it takes to be a fan of the Phillies. You might check into AA, rehab, or an institute of some sort. But
I haven't felt this bad since I realized my dad wasn't going to buy me braces. Holy shit. She looks like Michael Strahan.
Yeah, well, you know, he only has the one chin, though.
And she wasn't the only one. One woman told us she literally drove all the way up the East Coast just to see the Phillies lose.
I had back pain from the hurricane maybe 6 or 7 hours ago. I drove 21 hours up here, and I came here. My first stop, I had no sleep. No sleep. I'm here from the hurricane, and my Phillies are losing. I don't know what else to say.
And two guys we met had to walk home in nothing but overalls with Phillies logos.
We're fed up. We're fed up. We had such great expectations, and now we're just done.
I've already hit the 5th stage of grief. It's called acceptance. Acceptance that this team will not win for the next 5 years, probably.
But Courtney hasn't reached that acceptance phase
Not
just
Courtney.
yet.
And I want everyone gone. I want the bartenders gone. I want Xfinity gone. I want my best friend gone. I want them all gone. This is bullcrap.
But, you know, look, I'm sure those two guys in overalls didn't run into any trouble walking through the streets of Philadelphia, right? I mean, I feel like everything was probably fine for them.
I'm not going to lie. I'm okay with the terror attack in Philly.
Well, that's Eric Zane speaking. I know that I have a limited fan base across the country, and some reason people in Philly like me.
Like at a game, like on the next 4 Eagles game, Phillies game, Sixers, and Flyers. All gone.
Well, I love that you said you hate Phillies fans or Philadelphia fans, because I do want to introduce our audience to the most Philly fan that I've ever seen. His name is Hunter Brody, and I think he comes from the school. You know, Jim Rome always says, have a take and don't suck. This guy definitely has a take, and to me, he doesn't suck. This is after the Phillies were eliminated.
For Phillies baseball, it's probably the best for my mental health. I don't know how much longer I could even put up with it. There was a moment in time where the game was so brutal, even though the Phillies were winning 1-0, but it was so draining that I was wondering if they did manage to escape this one without their 12 ERA bullpen getting shelled. Oh, that is a joke. That is fucking ridiculous.
So he worked up to that. That was the part where I really enjoyed him. And we're going to go back in time for a minute to our friend Broads here before the series started.
You are scared of the Mets. If you think the Phillies are going to lose this series, get the off this show. Do not listen to this show. You got to believe. Do not diminish who the Phillies are.
Wow.
Don't downplay their greatness. Don't downplay the fact that we got Zach Wheeler arrested and our team was chilling while the Mets went to war and had to tax a lot of their guys and put in a ton of energy. The Phillies deserve to buy, gain the advantage, and they're going to take advantage of the advantage because they're a great baseball team.
Well, that's not really the way it played out, but
Wow.
I did want to do a little after and before.
No, it's perfect.
So has that helped your opinion of Philadelphia fans in any way?
Yeah, it for the good, and that is I want more destruction. I mean, if we could somehow get some type of like bubonic plague, it would all be good. Maybe a hurricane could hit there.
I wasn't entirely sure I was going to play this one, but I think that this one's going to be perfect, because what we have to remember is that we pass our fandom on to our kids, for better or for worse. And so a dad filmed this from the backseat of the car as a mom tries to console. Dr. Scotty Jones, baseball is the least warlike sport. I do agree. You're absolutely right. Yeah. There's you get in trouble if there's any kind of contact. But so let's see how a particularly young Philly fan is taking the way this went.
I did. I wanted not to win. Me too. And I wanted to go to the parade. I know. I don't know if the Flyers might win, honey. They won't.
I do love that answer. She knows.
Not Phillies. I know the Phillies didn't win. This is what a Philadelphia sports fan feels like.
Oh, bullshit.
They're not good.
I love the way that the TikTok ends. She's like, they're not good.
They're such children over there. I mean, they win as often. The Eagles have won. The fucking Phillies won in 2008. Fuck you little twat.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I think you're talking to the mom, right? Not the little girl. I would assume that.
Well, kind of. I mean, the kid's got an excuse for crying. She's a kid. So I guess I should say the big twat. You're right. I'm more mad at the mom for suggesting that the Phillies fans have it tough.
They have it
Come
tough.
on.
Yeah. When Carl was talking to our buddy, the Aussie guy, who for some reason is a Dodgers fan, they were complaining about being in the playoffs every year. And Carl's like, yeah, I'm a Cubs fan. All right. So I don't think I want to hear it. So, and I'm keeping an eye on the time. I could have easily pulled like 10 clips from the gang at Phillies post game live, which it airs on the cable home of the Phillies during the regular season. And this just it boils down to this, because this is like they filled their in-studio panelists with like guys that you'll talk to, like at the gas station, like at the Wawa in South Jersey or in Philly. And the fact that they wear it all on their sleeve makes for some fun content.
They're just not that good. Maybe they're just not the team we thought they were.
How about 5 stinking hits? Is that going to do anything for you? Seriously.
No, it's not.
I mean, I hear everybody on Twitter out there, go ahead, blasting off on Aaron Nola. At the time they were blasting off, the Phillies had 2 hits.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of like this, the way that they talk about it. By the way, they hadn't been eliminated yet in that game. That was they were still in it in that moment. And and I don't know. I mean, maybe that's what the fan base needs is guys who kind of talk like that. But the main guy kind of sums it up after they're eliminated.
It hurts to me is because it's the stinking New York Mets. If it was San Diego or Arizona, sure, that's tough to deal with. But this is our direct division rival to the Phillies, the New York Mets. They've never before played in the playoffs. There's bragging rights involved. We thought we'd be able to just wipe them out, and it didn't.
Yeah, it didn't.
So what? They've never been here. Yeah, but
they never played each other.
Oh.
Yeah. So I guess the final part of this part of the story is that, look, your team gets beat. You decide to root against them in the next round. So this Phillies fan is watching yesterday's game at Dodger Stadium between the Mets and Dodgers, which I was there in the sun, enjoying myself. So he's watching this game, and he responds with violence to a grand slam.
Strike him out. All you got to do is strike him out here, and this inning's nothing. You're only down 2-0. You're only down 2-0. You had him chasing. Throw it right back up there. Throw it back up there. Full count. Dude, the problem with this pitcher is with a full count, he throws it down the middle every time. And he threw it down the middle! Get down! Get down! Get down! Oh, he got... Gosh! Dang it, bro!
Those people.
Another grand slam! Like, bro!
Tossed his...
Why are the Mets so lucky?
Barely moved.
Why are the Mets even in the playoffs? They don't even belong in the playoffs, and now I just broke my chair!
Yeah, you didn't. You didn't
really
break it. You've never broken anything, you fucking twit.
That guy doesn't even look like he's broken a sweat. So we're talking about the Dodgers, and there are there's really just one really important clip, and EZ, you sent this to me. And this I said I might actually edit this into the show open and use it every week. Kike Hernandez has asked how the Dodgers were able to win the series against the Padres. They shut out the Padres for the last 2 games, coming back to win the series. And Kike Hernandez responds with this.
Are we live?
We're live.
The fact that we don't give a fuck?
All right, thank you, Kike.
Yep.
Congratulations.
Thank you again.
Joe, back to you.
All right.
So I love the fact that he made sure they were live. He's like, are we live? Because that's the moment where you might say oh, we don't really care. He's like, oh, we're live. Yeah. Cause we don't give a fuck. Exactly.
Wow. I wish the guy would have had a follow-up. Define fuck.
Yeah. You have no fucks to give.
Right.
But the final clip for the show is largely visual. There's a lot of celebrations after a home run. But look, it's Los Angeles, it's Southern California, it's the year 2024. We do things differently here.
Oh,
Yep. So how would you describe that, Eric?
Well, okay, the guy goes up to the next guy who's on deck after he gets his home run. They slap 5 and then they bump dicks.
They bump dicks. That's Kike Hernandez again on the left, by the way.
That's great.
That's the same guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. You bump dicks.
Right, exactly. And contrary to popular belief on this show, we never, and I mean ever, bump dicks. I don't know what you might have heard. No, we've never bumped each other's dicks.
In my brain, I have.
Yeah. Well, Eric, I know that we mostly had politics and sports today, but you know what? There was a lot. Don't worry. I've got some amazing bear stuff for next week. We have the winner of the Fat Bear competition. I know that people have been on the edge of their seats seeing who won is the fattest bear, but we don't have time for it this week. We're going to have to get to it next week. I want to give you an opportunity to promote where people can find you. And, I can always tidy things up if you have to run easy.
No. By all means, I can finish this.
Okay. So, but let people know where they can find you.
It's real simple. So I do a daily podcast. Okay. Yeah. Wherever you download shows, the Eric Zane Show podcast, that's for the audio. And if you want it live, it's on Twitch. Just search Eric Zane Live, all one word. I get going at 10 a.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday.
And also, I'm fully aware that there'll be an expectation that when the Mets season is over, I will play clips very much like that. Don't worry, there might have even been a day or two where I started pulling some. So don't worry.
That's a great
all right?
story.
We'll get there. We'll see what happens. It was a great day at the ballpark yesterday. JFK Headchunk says, thanks, dick bumpers. And I didn't see this one earlier from Hamilton Burger. You know how to make balloons, don't you, Christian? You put your lips together and blow. Carl's toes. Oh, you did say that one. Carl's toes. Carl's, right? That was a different one.
That was a different one, actually. That was
so that's what I'm realizing now. We've got 2. And I think that's our high dollar amount.
Yes.
But obviously, the big story is Hulkamania with 10 gifted. Who are these podcast memberships? Hulkamania, my man. And sorry, Dust Cloud, I don't get to actually sign off with this one, but your heart was in the right place. But unfortunately, your wallet was not. I have one final clip that does relate to the Mets, but it's also something that'll be for fans of Opie and Anthony. Daniel Bobo Curlin was interviewed by the local Fox affiliate. And I know this because Daniel shared it on his Instagram.
Whirlwind of emotions. I mean, it looked bleak. It looked horrible in May, but then somehow June we came together, and I think they might sneak into playoffs, and who knows where from there. We did it. Yeah. So, Daniel Bobo found his way onto the local news, and I didn't want people out of the New York market, people who aren't Mets fans, to not see. So, as I mentioned earlier, whoarethese.com, you can become a member, join the Patreon, and in 11 minutes, you'll be able to see the latest WATP bonus episode, Living in the Past, the Wayback Machine to 2018, and you'll get to see some of that. And while you're there, for the voicemail and leave a message for WATB. Think of it this way. If you're too poor to super chat, leave a voicemail.
Yeah.
We're guaranteed to play it. We will definitely play it. And if you've heard some of the ones we played, clearly we play all of them. My podcast, The Black Cast, been covering some particularly bad movies lately. Joker Folie à Deux, I talked about with Husey, and Megalopolis, the Francis Ford Coppola movie. You can find those over at Blackcast, BLADTCAST. That is all the time we have for now. And just go jump on over to the bonus episode. We'll see you next Tuesday. But until then, this is Christian Blatt reminding you that every mic is a hot mic. And I'm Christian Blatt, and I dream of tongue bathing Carl Hamburger's clubbed toes.